Welcome to the Natural Health and Healing Show with one of New England's leading nutritionists, Mark Mincola. The show is brought to you by the Good Health Stores in Hanover and Quincy. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 with your health and nutrition questions. Now, here's Mark.
Good evening and welcome. And a happy, healthy Sunday evening to everybody listening out there. Yes, indeed. We're not going to be talking about football this evening. You can turn down the sound. You can turn off the television set altogether. We're going to be talking about everything anti-football this evening. We're going in a different direction. We're talking about boosting your brain energy. Last week we spoke at great length about increasing your body's fuel, your body's energy efficiency, especially in the face of stress. We talked at great length last weekend about how stress has an affinity to really kind of deplete the batteries and really wipe out our energies. We're going to focus on similar issues, but instead of the neck down version, we're going to do the neck up version, boosting your brain energy, getting your brain to work more efficiently, your memory to work more efficiently, getting your synapses and all those neurological connections to work more efficiently in the face of depleting stress. And stress, again, is the one thing that I think most significantly derails both our body energy and our brain energy. So important ways to recharge those brain batteries and get the brain efficiency up and running. The brain only weighs a meager 2 pounds, yet it uses up as much as 20% of our total body energy. So it's an extremely important mechanism, and it's certainly one that you're going to want to make for more efficient fuel delivery. Just think about this, 30% of everything that happens to the human body, 30% of virtually everything that happens, good and bad, conditions, symptoms, diseases, 30% of everything that happens to your body is the result of the effects of stress on your brain. It's referred to as allogenesis. And again, as we said earlier, the idea that stress is virtually everywhere. We know that it's a natural part of life, but your brain was only programmed to help control your body's effects of stress based on 30 to 60-minute intervals. Most folks do not know that. So yes, indeed, stress is natural. No question about it. It's a part of this life on this planet. However, when you're being chased by a swarm of bees and your adrenal system is overactive and your stress chemistry is chiming in and fueling you up with extraordinary speed and agility so that you can escape all those bee stings, you run, you find recovery, and finally your brain and your body settle back down. So stress is very natural, as we said, but we're only naturally designed, we're only naturally programmed to have to contend with the adaptation from stress for 30 to 60-minute intervals. Cortisol is an important hormone in all this mess. It's secreted in the face of stress to mobilize the brain and the body efficiency for, again, 30 to 60-minute intervals. Beyond that 30 to 60 minutes, there's a section of the brain called the hippocampus that becomes stressed, and that's a very important part of the brain that actually regenerates and produces neurons, brand new neurons. There are very few parts of the brain that actually engage in what's called neurogenesis. The idea of developing new nerves and distributing new nerves, birthing brand new nerves in your brain. There are very few sections of the brain that will do that. But beyond 30 to 60-minute periods of stress, you actually disengage that process of brand new productions of nerves. So you actually degenerate, you shrink the hippocampus, that section of the brain that is so important in the activity of generating brand new machinery up there for learning, for memory. Your day-to-day brain functions require a really sharp, clear response. This is the section of the brain that actually does that very thing. It provides you with this memory. It provides you with this sharp kind of responsive activity. However, again, beyond 30 to 60 minutes of stress, chronic stress on a continued basis actually degenerates that specific part of the brain, the hippocampus, actually shrinks it. It actually shrinks the hippocampus down, causes cell death, increases of cell death, cognitive function, of course. This is really an important message. So stress really kind of prunes back the various synaptic connections and branches in the brain that contend with day-to-day endeavors. So when you need that brain to be ever sharp, again, continued chronic stress will disengage that possibility. You know, society has changed faster than our genes. Stress is now much more chronic, much more lasting than our brains and bodies were designed to deal with. So research now shows that things like massage, yoga, tai chi, meditation, visualization increase the chemistry in the brain that offsets this kind of chronic stress that degenerates your brain function and that really throws your brain energy under the bus. So the idea that you and I can actually make a significant difference at sabotaging the saboteur of the brain, stress. We do have that ability to do that. In the research, there's been a tremendous amount of research in recent months that makes it very clear that we do have supplements that make a significant difference in slowing down this process, protecting the brain from this unnatural stress beyond 30 to 60 minutes. There's a number of supplements we're going to talk about tonight that will do that. Keep your memory sharp, keep your brain functioning sharp, and keep your brain's degenerative response to stress protected. And we come back from this break, we're going to talk with a licensed muscular therapist, Jeffrey Spratt, who will talk about the effects of massage on stress. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. Fall is cold and flu season, so remember to visit Good Health and ask about all our natural remedies that will boost your immune system and give you energy. Do all you can to maintain control of your health. Stay healthy and live longer. Visit Good Health in Quincy and Hanover for the best values and everyday convenience. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Right in our area, we are fortunate to have one of the top martial arts schools in the country, Personal Best Karate. Personal Best has been recognized for their community involvement, professional staff development, character building programs, and exciting educational curriculum. Personal Best stands at the top of their industry. 5 locations offering personalized professional instruction. Not sure if karate is right for you? At no obligation, the staff at Personal Best will guide you in a private introductory program to see if karate is indeed the right fit to help you achieve your goals and meet your needs. What does karate at Personal Best teach you? Character building, success habits, helps you get in shape, relieve stress, self-control, setting goals, and of course, self-defense. Personal Best's goal is to create successful, contributing members of society through the practice of the martial arts at Personal Best. Mr. Chris Rappoltz, of course, the founder of Personal Best Karate, he tells me his greatest joy of all is to see the personal transformation in each and every student. Bring out your best with Personal Best Karate. Telephone number 508-285-5425. That's 508-285-5425. Locations in Norton, Foxborough, Southeastern, Franklin, and Taunton. That's Personal Best Karate. All right, welcome back. We're talking with you this evening about boosting brain energy and protecting your brain from stress. And Jeffrey Spratt, are you on the line?
Yes, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Hey, welcome in. Great to have you. And Jeff, of course, is a licensed muscular therapist from the place where I work, Santi Holistic Healing in Cohasset, and he has a tremendous amount of skill and many, many gifts when it comes to helping the body relax. I can attest to that personally. Jeff, talk a little bit for a few moments here about the importance of a lot of the research regarding massage and stress and protecting that brain from stress.
Oh, absolutely. It's the last several years have provided a lot of great research where they're actually showing the great reduction in the everyday wears and tears of our society, from everything from back pain to treatment of migraines, and of course the reduction of anxiety. One of the things that I did want to kind of bring up was along the thought of the brain cycle is GABA, which is gamma-aminobutyric acid, which is basically a neurotransmitter that is essential for proper brain function and the central nervous system. Now, there's no really significant data on this yet, but our theory is that, basically what GABA does for us is it is formed by two amino acids precursors, glutamate and succinate. Now, these amino acids are produced in the Krebs cycle, or the citric acid cycle, which is an aerobic process, which means it needs oxygen to take place. Now, how this is translated into massage comes in the part of the oxygen, as we are able to increase the circulation in the body, which enables the promotion of oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, which helps the body bring more blood to the Krebs cycle, so it's able to work more efficiently and more effectively. In addition, the process of the massage during the treatment itself, we often coach and encourage our clients to really focus on their breathing and get into more of a diaphragmatic breathing rather than the shallow breathing that we're so used to during our daily activity. So with that combination of the increased volume in the oxygen and that exchange process really helps the promotion of GABA and then therefore bring down the stress levels in the brain.
Right. GABA is really the key, too, because GABA is the neurotransmitter produced in the brain that the brain basically offsets the destructive ravages of stress with. So the idea that the brain produces cortisol, and cortisol, again, beyond 30 to 60 minutes, starts to really produce negative effects, as we said earlier. The idea of breaking down the nerve endings in the brain, the synaptic connections, pruning back those connections, and for learning and brain stimulation. So people tend to when stress is hitting them long term like that, they lose memory connections, they lose learning skills, and again the objective is the brain is looking to offset these negative effects that really damage our ability to learn and remember, etc. With GABA is the good guy. It's the guy that really does all that natural brain repair and offsets that stress. I saw studies recently from the University of Oregon and from Boston University, even regarding yoga, for example, where they found that yoga significantly increased the amount of GABA that was produced in the brain on stressful subjects. So folks who are really highly stressed, described as being very highly stressed, who engaged in 20 minutes of yoga significantly increased their GABA and, again, protected the brain. And, again, when you think about what yoga does, not a lot different than the effects of a great massage.
Absolutely. With the circulatory nature of the techniques involved, and, again, the fact that we're taking the client out of their daily stress cycle. The experience within the office is several-fold. Is not only we're getting the deep tissue work and the tension in the muscles, but the environment itself is very relaxing. We coach the clients to make sure that this is their time to focus on themselves and de-stress and disengage from that stressful environment. So these processes can happen.
Well, I can say too that so many folks who have had a tremendous amount of stress. Of course, when you're on the massage table, and you finally get that great relaxation massage, that deep tissue release like that, at the end of that experience, you know that your brain is in a whole different mode. And most folks are not aware of the fact that that's something that can be retrained and reformatted. So the idea of getting one massage is great. You're going to feel good. But the idea of coupling that with, Tai Chi, meditation, yoga, visualization, massage on a regular routine basis, the idea of really reformatting the brain, retraining the brain in the face of all of this stress that we have been programmed to to think of as common in our lives. So stress has become, unfortunately, an everyday reality. So our brains have become sort of adapted to the negatives of this and can be equally reformatted to positive, relaxational kind of brain chemistries.
Absolutely. It's all part of the process. It's retraining not only the muscle memory, but the brain memory as well, to disengage from themselves and help them find a place where their body is going to be more efficient and taking care of itself.
Now, tell the folks what kind of massage you focus on. What do you specialize in? What works best for you? What do you do? What do you like best about your style of massage?
Well, it's the fact that I have a wide range of tools to work with. I think it's really important to note that everybody is different, and everybody has their unique needs, and not every particular modality or style is going to work with everybody. So working with the client very closely and deciphering where they're at during that particular day, what their goals are, and reaching into the toolbox to meet their needs with those specific modalities. I do a lot of deep tissue work, neuromuscular therapy, trigger point work, a lot of injury rehab in nature, because that's what we're a lot of seeing. This stress level is really presenting almost in a catastrophic type of circumstances. I can't tell you the number of clients that I get on my table who are in acute pain because of their everyday work stress. And they're often baffled by, I don't understand how this happened. I just bent over to pick up a fork, or I turned, or I woke up with it. And it's that repetitive overuse type of injury where they're at the computer for hours a week, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, plus the everyday stress, is that the muscles just continuing to build, and it's literally the straw that breaks the camel's back. So that portion of my work I really enjoy. It's the acute care, as well as working with, on the other side of that token is the energetic side of things. I do have my Reiki atonement, and I also work with craniosacral therapy, which helps remove restrictions in the body, but at a much subtler, softer fashion. Again, working with a particular client to meet their particular needs and see what's going on. And that's one of the reasons I enjoy what I do. It's the challenge of meeting those needs.
We are talking with Jeffrey Spratt, licensed muscular therapist from Santi Holistic Healing in Cohasset. And I think one of the important messages here, like the title of tonight's broadcast really suggests, boosting brain energy, protecting your brain from stress. I mean, you can't separate those folks. When you complain that you are exhausted and that you just don't have the energy that you used to have, you don't have the memory you used to have, you don't have the recall, your brain isn't working sharp, it's all about really understanding that you need to develop consistent week in and week out strategies that literally help protect your brain from stress. Like we talked about, the section of the brain that is most damaged with stress is the hippocampus, and that is the primary place where new neurons are produced for learning and brain stimulation. So stress longer than 30 to 60 minutes has been shown, as we say, to prune back those branches and those synaptic connections in the hypothalamus. And, there's a big difference between a stressed brain versus a relaxed brain. And, again, these are very, very important modalities. We're talking about massage right now with Jeff, but yoga, Tai Chi, meditation, visualization. Get those GABA levels up there, and you can reformat and reprogram that stress brain that has been, up to this point in time, likely programmed to really produce the wrong, damaging kind of chemistries. Now, Jeff, you've got an upcoming presentation
through the body, as well as hit some highlights or chronic areas that you might be having with, in order for you to regenerate yourself to get back in the game. It is meant to rejuvenate you on all three levels. Physical, of course. Mental helps get that mental positioning back, and as well as spiritual. It gives you a brighter outlook on things.
And it certainly does relax the heck out of you.
As it should. And as you mentioned before, we run, 100 miles an hour from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed. And another thing is always difficult, I think, with massage therapy is that it's a time frame. People can't take that hour out of their schedule. And that's another reason for the development of the shakeout is it's convenient for your schedule. You have that time, and you can come in and get taken care of at an efficient level without wasting too much of your very valuable time.
Well,
and limiting that stress as well.
Absolutely. And another bit of good news about it all is when we talk about boosting brain energy and protecting your brain from stress when it comes to something like massage, folks, it takes 7/10 of a second to begin sending a cascade of neurons in the stress-free direction. So when you think to yourself, well, how many massages is it going to take, etc. Well, it's certainly great to accumulate that process again long-term to reformat that brain chemistry so it's going away from the stress chemistry and into a relaxation chemistry. It certainly is really important to do that on an ongoing basis. However, important point, the minute you're on that table and the minute you decide to just really let it go and relax, again, within 7/10 of a second, you're reformatting that brain and you're protecting your brain from stress. It doesn't take long at all. So great stuff. And Jeff Spratt, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
And we'd like to get you back on one of these days, and very soon indeed. So again, that date is going to be Tuesday, March 23rd. That's going to be at the Red Line. You want to learn a great deal about stress and about the whole concept of using various techniques, nutrition-based techniques, as well as stress management techniques. They're going to provide you with great east-west information on that, and that's 781-383-3393 at www.santiholistic.com. And again, Jeff Spratt, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
This is Catherine from Jarrow Formulas. We're happy to have continued our relationship with Mark Mincola in the Health and Healing Show, and we're happy to announce a new product from Jarrow Formulas called Jarrow Cell. We all know that as the body ages, it heals less rapidly and becomes frailer. Often the body is unable to process enough nutrients to repair weakening cartilage and protein fibers. A very important element in building and repairing your body is silicon. But unfortunately, as we grow, you may have difficulty absorbing adequate silicon from your diet. But now, thanks to a product called Jarrow Cell, you can be sure to get your share. Jarrow Cell can give you the silicon you need to support your bone health, bone mineral density, and in addition, Jarrow Cell strengthens and beautifies your hair, skin, and nails. Jarrow Cell is available now in a synergistic liquid formula that also includes boron and zinc. Ask for Jarrow Cell at your local health food stores. Or for more information, you can go to the Jarrow website, which is www.jarrow.com.
Hi there, this is Mark Mincola, the Natural Health and Healing Show. I know that so many of you out there are passionate about the latest cutting-edge nutritional information, would like to go on to that next level. I'm proud to announce that our new natural health care offices in Cohasset are offering personalized nutritional consultations. At Santi Holistic Healing, you'll experience an informative, individualized nutritional consultation by one of my finest personally trained nutritional experts. Your consultant will test you for specific food allergies and supplements. Together, you will chart out a personalized, optimal nutritional roadmap that will detail your healthiest foods and nutritional supplements, even specific doses. If that's not enough, we also offer relaxing healing massage at Santi Holistic Healing. Whether it's nutritional consulting or healing massage that you're interested in, we at Santi Holistic Healing are prepared to give you the healing experience of a lifetime. Call us at 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393 for the healing experience of a lifetime. All right, and also about that time of night that we got to remind you, not that we should have to at this time, but Good Health Natural Foods is your all-purpose mecca when it comes to finding those supplements, those bodybuilding supplements, or those antioxidants, or many of the supplements we're about to talk about right now that are going to help you to better preserve and protect your brain from stress and to boost your brain energy, increase your brain energy. We're going to talk about a number of important supplements for those endeavors. But you know where you can find all the above, and of course it is indeed Good Health Natural Foods. They've been on board with us for 8 years now, right from the very beginning of this broadcast. So Good Health Natural Foods, 2 convenient locations. Of course, Columbia Road, that's 219 Columbia Road, Route 53 way down in Hanover, and 1627 Hancock Street, that's down in Quincy, and you can reach them at 617-773-4925 in Quincy, or you can call them at And of course, you can say hello to two very good friends, I should say, two people that I love very much. How about that at Good Health in Quincy? Because Nick Mincola is there much of the time and really learning the ropes and studying acupuncture at the New England School of Acupuncture as well. And my daughter Vanessa is now working there. She started working there on Saturday, and she's learning the ropes very quickly and real excited about learning more about supplements and the latest and greatest on the shelves at Good Health Natural Foods. And there's no better place to do that very thing. They not only train people like Vanessa expertly there, but I think virtually any client that walks in the door is in for a pleasant surprise at Good Health Natural Foods, because you're going to get an expert guidance and a great guided tour of exactly what it's all about. So great place to learn the ropes when it comes to all things vitamin and healthy and organic, etc. Good Health Natural Foods. For all things natural and healthy, it is indeed good health. All right, we're going to get back on point here. We've been talking with you this evening about boosting your brain energy, protecting your brain from stress. And of course, that's a pretty important subject for most of us these days. And last week, we talked a great deal about this from more of a body perspective. We talked about blue-green algae, microalgae, and how important those are for preserving and protecting your body. And we mentioned it from the perspective of, biochemistry, that there are stress chemistries that we produce. We talked about some of those earlier. There's groups of enzymes called MAOBs, and those enzymes, as we age and as we continue to feel chronic stresses, really do a number degenerating our brains and really hampering their ability to function. Of course, there are a lot of different ways we can increase good chemistries in our brain, like the GABA that Jeff and I were just talking about a little while ago, the phenylethylamines, also really powerful, feel-good kind of brain chemicals. And certainly massage is one way to do that, but as we pointed out earlier, it's all about nutrition as well. And there certainly are a number of different great brain boosters out there, easy for me to say. There's a lot of really important supplements that you need to know about. But let's talk just for a moment or two about how things go wrong up there in brain chemistry land. There's over 1,000 neurotoxins that we encounter on a regular routine basis. Many things like mercury, chlorine, aluminum, copper, lead. These are all neurotoxins, and again, there's generally about 1,000 that we're constantly exposed to. And those heavy metals are very, very powerful agents that tend to lodge and store within the vital tissues of the brain, so that when you and I are undergoing our day-to-day stress, it makes it much more difficult, if not virtually impossible, for a great many of us to really contend with and to adapt to the stresses that we're confronted with. So we really want to have our brains tip-top. There are many different supplements. We mentioned blue-green algae because of the alginic acid that's in there. Alginic acid is a wonderful, wonderful nutrient provided by Mother Nature that actually offsets these neurotoxins. So if you have mercury, if you have chlorine, if you have aluminum, too much copper stored in your tissues, too much lead stored in your tissues, the alginic acid from the blue-green algae will really help you to detoxify those and antagonize those and help your brain to function far more efficiently. We also mentioned last week that those same blue-green algae were really helpful as far as increasing GABA levels, just like we talked about with massage, and the phenylethylamines, which are the feel-good hormones, and they lower and antagonize your MAOBs, those enzymes that make you feel depressed, anxious, worried, and unable to function. So once again, blue-green algae we talked about last week from a biological, also from a brain stress chemistry perspective as well. And again, something we also want to think about is glycation. Glycation is really, really important. The idea that there is a genetic component to stress and to really degenerating the brain. Things like Alzheimer's, for example, are often the result of these plaques that are steroid plaques, inflammatory steroid plaques from glycation, from too many red meats, too many dairy products, too many animal fats combined with sugars. Most folks are not aware of what glycation is, but glycation is really a great plaquing chemistry that takes place in the body. It plaques the arteries, but worse, as we're pointing out right now, it plaques the brain. So glycation is a great brain plaquer, and the idea of Alzheimer's it really comes to mind here. So glycation is something we really want to protect the brain against. So in terms of what we cut down on with our diet, you certainly want to cut down on the inflammatory foods. Most folks are not aware of the fact that food does actually produce either an inflammatory or an anti-inflammatory effect. Absolutely true. You sort of know that, believe it or not, and I'll remind you how you know that. Everybody knows that flax and fatty fish are good for you. They're not really sure how they're good for you. They know that they're good for the heart, and that's kind of about all they really know. But listen, the idea that flax and fatty fish have these omega-3s, hey, that means they are anti-inflammatory. That's the key. They're not just anti-inflammatory for the heart and for the arteries. Folks, they are anti-inflammatory for the entire body. Your immune system, your brain, your heart, your arteries, every square inch of that wonderful, miraculous human body of yours is going to benefit from the anti-inflammatory properties of fatty fish and of flax, among other things. So important to think in terms of keeping the brain clear from these plaques, and therefore you want to cut down on the inflammatory plaques that you are inclined to produce with too much red meat, too much cheese, and that you will offset with fatty fish and flax. So that's an important note to make as well. Also, our waters are loaded with fluoridation, of course, and the chlorine, as we said, the heterocyclic amines. Those are also inflammatory agents. Again, there's literally thousands of inflammatory agents that we encounter that will cause brain inflammation. Again, during periods of stress, they make it virtually impossible to adapt. So I say it's really important to approach this really from a sort of dual sort of perspective, the idea of boosting your brain energy so you feel more energized and protecting your brain from stress. They work together. And again, there are many, many different agents that really are helpful. But diet's an important part of it. We want to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables, plenty of fish. And obviously, you want to be careful about tuna fish and swordfish, folks, because unfortunately, they are extremely high. You're talking about 0.75 milligrams percent, 0.50 milligrams percent of methylmercury per serving in both these once delicious and safe fish, no longer so. But you want to be careful about those two in particular, okay? So swordfish, tuna fish, beware. Cut way down again. Methylmercury is becoming a very prevalent neurotoxin in our culture these days, and sad to say that those two fish are off limits these days. Also, when we think about drinking water, a lot of folks that I interview even still surprisingly tell me that they're drinking tap water. It's hard to believe. I can't imagine it. But tap water, many folks believe, is no different than the bottled water. In fact, a lot of people are very they're very jaded. They're very mistrusting about what kind of bottled water they're actually paying for, because we've all watched those exposés, those consumer reports, and those various exposés that report on the rip-offs out there. The folks that really are not responsible water salespeople that are just putting tap water in attractive bottles. And surely those folks are out there, but they do not represent the entire water industry, believe me. So good water, pure water, is still a very precious commodity, and it's one that I highly recommend. I focus on water that is very low in total dissolvable solids, TDSs. You don't want a lot of copper in your water, folks. I know for the past 20 years or so, we've tested many, many minerals. We've done a lot of toxic metal testing from thousands and thousands of patients that we've worked with. And folks in areas like Situate, Massachusetts, tend to have very high copper levels. And again, a lot of the pH in that water and a lot of the copper piping is actually leaching a tremendous amount of into that water supply, because the more acidic the water is, the more it's going to leach that soft metal called copper. So anyway, please do not drink tap water. Really important that you think about a low TDS water. Poland Springs is a very low TDS water. It ranges between, let's say 10 and 30. Actually, between 10 and 30, I think, is about what you'd find. The TDS tester that we have is measuring the parts per million with water supply, various waters that we have people bring in. We check it with a little TDS tester. we tell people anything over 50 is higher than you'd want. So Poland Springs is between 10 and 30. I've seen it as high as 40, never higher than 40. And distilled water is also 0. And the reverse osmosis is also 0. So I recommend those 3 waters. But filters, people say, what about my filter? Filters really do very little. They filter out the chlorine, make your water taste a little bit better, and that's about it. But as far as the TDSs, it doesn't really affect them. We've tested thousands of pre- and post-tested waters, and I've never seen a filter, even some of the very expensive ones, that really do a whole lot as far as TDSs. So for brain inflammation, you want to be careful about the copper. For brain inflammation, the heterocyclic amines, the chlorines, the fluoridation processes. Pure water helps, big difference. So cut down on the red meats, dairy products, egg yolks, because those are inflammatories, and egg whites are fine. Again, increase the amount of fatty fish like salmon. You want to increase the halibuts. You also want to increase soy if you're not allergic to soy, non-fermented soy. We're not talking about miso, tempeh, tamari, and soy sauce. Those are fermented. They will not do. So things like tofu, things like soy cheeses, soybeans, a good way to go if, again, you're not allergic to them. And again, green tea is really important. There's something called epigallocatechin gallate. Big, long word. All it means is there's an anti-plaquing agent in every cup of green tea. So green tea is really an important food to bring into this brain-boosting conversation as well. So we talked about blue-green algae as being really important. Let's talk about some other supplements. And there's a number of other supplements that, again, we talked about in days gone by, but in context with boosting your brain energy, protecting your brain from stress, and having that great, sharp recall, memory, learning skills, etc. There's nothing I like better than DMAE. I absolutely love that product. In fact, I like the Jarrow DMAE. It's 150 milligrams. DMAE is in a small tablet form. Dimethylaminoethanol. You only need to know it as DMAE, a great brain booster, a great brain protector. Remarkable studies that have been done over the years. Dr. Leon Ettinger has done some remarkable studies on DMAE for children and adults with ADD and ADHD, which to me are stress-based stress conditions, and you can check out some of that remarkable research that goes far back as the early 70s, late 60s. There's been continued research done in the 80s and 90s as well on DMAE to make that brain sharp, to lift the mood, and it really, really does work. I say that if you're using a good quality blue-green algae, and the one that I like the best is actually the spirulina. I mentioned it last week, the spirulina from Solgar, Solgar, the gold label, spirulina. They have a Hawaiian spirulina, 750 milligrams. I believe it's 250 capsules. I recommend 4 of those a day. 4 of those Solgar spirulina caps. And they are absolutely my favorite. There's a number of other good ones there that they have. But when you combine 4 to 6 of those a day with some Jarrow formulas, DMAE, 150 milligrams, 1 or 2 of those a day, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to be sharp as it gets. Big difference. It doesn't take you weeks to figure it out. Using this stuff is going to make a difference right away. Again, I think if you get your diet lined up, take care of yourself, cut down on some of the abusive foods that we all know about, and then you get yourself some of this blue-green algae, or spirulina I should call it, which is a blue-green algae, and DMAE. The two work absolutely beautifully well together, and you'll notice a difference instantaneously. And we've got quite a few other supplements to talk about to help you learn better about how to boost your brain energy, protect your brain from stress when we come back from these important messages.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. When it comes to lasting health and nutrition, the old adage, you are what you eat, really is true. Try to think about your lifestyle and what you put into your body this year. Read those labels on your foods and look for actual ingredients in all your purchases. Shop smart and save money. Visit Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
Hi there, this is Mark Mincold, the Natural Health and Healing Show. I know that so many of you out there are passionate about the latest cutting-edge nutritional information, would like to go on to that next level. I'm proud to announce that our new natural health care office in Cohasset are offering personalized nutritional consultations. At Santi Holistic Healing, you'll experience an informative, individualized nutritional consultation by one of my finest personally trained nutritional experts. Your consultant will test you for specific food allergies and supplements. Together, you will chart out a personalized, optimal nutritional roadmap that will detail your healthiest foods and nutritional supplements, even specific doses. If that's not enough, we also offer relaxing healing massage at Santi Holistic Healing. Whether it's nutritional consulting or healing massage that you're interested in, we at Santi Holistic Healing are prepared to give you the healing experience of a lifetime. Call us at 781-383-3393. That's 781-383-3393 for the healing experience of a lifetime. Alrighty, welcome back in. And we've been talking with you this evening about how to keep that brain running tip-top. And more importantly than that, how to neutralize the effects of stress on your brain. And that's really what it's all about, the idea that stress is your competitor when it comes to brain and body energy. And the better you offset, protect, insulate yourself from the ravages, the biochemical ravages of stress, the more energy you're going to have left over. If you let stress beat you up, well, you know how you feel when you've had a real stressful day. You're not up and about. You're not like running around with all kinds of energy to spare. It doesn't work that way. Stress burns you out. That's the term we like to use. And that's a great term because it really is very graphic, and it does. Stress burns you out. So we're trying to keep your brain fresh, active, fired up on all cylinders. And that's exactly what this is really all about. So we talked about the importance of spirulina, or the blue-green algae. Same thing. It's a microalgae. And I, again, like the Solgar Hawaiian spirulina, 750 mgs for a day. Great way to go. We also mentioned the Jara formulas, DMAE, dimethylaminoethanol, 150 milligrams, 2 of those a day. You put those two together, you are on fire. Or as they say in a sports center, en fuego. Also, there's some other important RNA, DNA supplements, things I really like a lot. There's something called vinpocetine, vinpocetine, vinpocetine. Vinpocetine is very high in what are called terpene lactones, and these are natural food-based antioxidants that really are, again, anti-plaquing agents, and they really help specifically the brain with circulation. In other words, vinpocetine is an enzyme. It's a natural food-based medicine. It's all derived from foods and herbs. And vinpocetine is loaded with these terpene lactones that actually help stimulate brain circulation. Okay, the idea of getting the brain to receive more nutrients, to receive more electrical supply, more supply with more electrical energy, I should say, and to enhance the circulation of nutrients in the brain, of blood in the brain. So if you want your brain circulation to increase, you surely want to try some vinpocetine, vinpocetine, 10 milligrams, 2 a day. So that's a total of 20 milligrams. And what kind of things are we looking at here? As far as the spirulina that we talked about, the DMAE, and the vinpocetine, those 3 would be my favorite in that order. And I'm telling you, if you really want to be super sharp, crystal clear, positive, upbeat with the mood, the whole thing, I'm telling you, it's truly dramatic. It really is. And it does not take long to feel it between the ears, folks. Along with the spirulina and the DMAE, I say 20 milligrams of the vinpocetine a day. The 3 of these will really do you well. There's 2 groups of antioxidants that I think are especially important here. One is the terpene lactones that you'll find in things like ginkgo biloba, and that you find in vinpocetine, when you get that extra support or stimulation of brain function. Also the flavone glycosides, which you're going to find with the EGCG that we talked about, the green tea. Green tea is loaded with something called EGCGs. Now, there's a remarkable study that I'll never forget. I tend not to forget much. I don't know why it is that way, but I remember I read a study about 5-6 years ago when I was doing my NECN segment, and I actually did a segment on Alzheimer's. And there was a study that was done about 5 years ago, and it was performed out in the West Coast at UCLA Medical School in conjunction with the Veterans Administration. So the Veterans Administration, in conjunction with UCLA Medical Hospital, did this extensive research on EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. To you, it's just basically a component of green tea. They isolated this one antioxidant called ECGC from green tea, and they first of all took rats and they injected them with human Alzheimer's cells to induce Alzheimer plaquing. And they indeed did just that. So they created severe plaquing in these animals. Then what they did is they gave them the equivalent of 1,200 milligrams of EGCG concentrate, this antioxidant from green tea, over a period of 4 months. And they found that half the plaquing had diminished. So they were able to neutralize 50% of the Alzheimer plaquing as a result of this EGCG supplement. So the health food industry went about manufacturing that very exact dose within a matter of weeks after that study. So you can get into Good Health Natural Foods and you can get some EGCG, 600 milligram capsules, 2 a day, you get to 1,200. And that's the equivalent of that particular study. Remarkable study, remarkable product, remarkable agent, antioxidant, anti-plaquing agent. So again, you want to keep that brain clear, clean, unplaqued, if you will. And these are wonderful agents for doing that very, very thing. And again, terpene, lactones, flavonoid, glycosides, all of these different herbs, these green teas, ginkgo bilobas, that's really what they have in them. So I think the EGCG is really important, 600 milligrams, 2 a day, especially if you have a family history. If you have a family history of Alzheimer's, the EGCG is irreplaceable. And it works beautifully well with one of the fatty agents in the omega-3 fish oil capsules. This very study that we talked about used 2 things. They used EGCG 1,200 milligrams, the human equivalent of 1,200 milligrams, along with DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. That's one of those fatty acids in your fatty fish. So the omega-3s really have 2 principal fatty acids. DHA is one of those. So this particular study at UCLA 5-6 years ago focused on neutralizing the plaques we think of as these Alzheimer plaques with both EGCG from green tea and DHA from fatty fish. You know, nature had this stuff all worked out. You drink enough green tea, eat enough fatty fish, you're going to stay crystal clean up there. But if you have concerns, like we said, about folks, you know, in the family, folks, if you have a lineage, if you have a genetic predisposition, a family history of Alzheimer's, and you're approaching, your 40s or your 50s, and you're a little bit concerned about your memory and about the way your brain is functioning, you're not clicking on all 4 cylinders like you once did. I think in general, the spirulina, the DMAE, the vinpocetine will help significantly. I will guarantee you that. But for those folks who really have some slow synaptic responses up there from years and years of stress, neurotoxins, and the genetic predisposition we think of as Alzheimer's, and you really want to go that extra step, I say you bring in the EGCG, 600 milligrams, 2 of those to make it 1,200 total, and DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. I like the Nordic Naturals, DHA. I would say 250 milligrams, you are good to go. All right, to bring it sort of back into the important stress-related issue that we've been kind of bringing into play here this evening, you know, within the cells of your body, every cell of your body has an engine in it. It has an engine in it, okay? And your 100 trillion cells function off of an engine called a mitochondria. Mitochondria is your cell's engine. And every cell actually has more than one of those. In fact, the average cell has between 12 and 200 per cell. So just think, you got some cells that have 200 engines in them. You got other cells that have 12 in them. But there's many different ways that we actually lose the efficiency of these engines, these cell engines. Stress certainly does that. Whenever we eat improperly, don't sleep, drink alcohol, too much caffeine, these things are going to work against the engines within our cell. And again, we talk about DNA hits. You get 30,000 hits a day. Your DNA's assaulted 30,000 times a day. So you can't see what's going on in there, but you can kind of feel it from time to time. You almost feel that there's a war going on in there. And some days, more clearly than others, you feel you're losing it. Okay? And then there are those rare days where you take the supplements that we talk about and you eat well and you get your rest and you're doing your relaxation, you're getting your massage with Jeff Spratt, and suddenly you say, I feel like I'm winning that war. You can actually sense and feel that you're getting ahead of your stress. That's because you're managing your cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, like we said earlier in the broadcast, that was designed to actually help us, not work against us. And again, within the context of a 30 to 60 minute cycle of stress, cortisol is magical. It actually helps you run faster. It actually helps you run away from that bear in the woods. It creates a greater efficiency, a greater clarity of mind, so that you become more alert, more aware of what might be coming after you. It keeps you efficiently protective of yourself. Cortisol. But, as we pointed out earlier, that all changes after 30 to 60 minutes. As we mentioned, society has changed faster than our genes. Stress is now much more chronic, much more longer lasting than our brains and bodies were designed to deal with. So the idea that your cortisol levels are designed to be your friend, but after 60 minutes they become your foe. Imagine if we talk to you the way cortisol talks to your mitochondria, the engine inside your cells. If we said, okay, we want you to run as fast as you can, just run as fast as you can. I mean, whether that's fast or not, just run as fast as you can. You may be exhausted. You may no longer be able to run all that fast. Just get up and move as quick as you can. All right, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Eventually, you are not going to be able to keep doing that. You're going to want to say, look, I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. I got to lay down. I got to sit down. I can't do this. Well, cortisol talks to your mitochondria that way. It says, rev it up. Let's go. And the engines within your cells are saying, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. So cortisol becomes your enemy because it doesn't let you shut down. That's why you can't sleep at night. So the last supplement that I'm going to mention is one called Holy Basil. It's an herb, Holy Basil. There's a company called New Chapter that makes an 800 milligram Holy Basil capsule. I say take 2 of those a day to offset the ravages of cortisol, which keep you out of balance, out of rhythm, sleepy by day, and wiped out by day, and then hyped out by night. You're in reverse. Anyway, wow, does this hour go fast? And again, just to remind everybody, Tuesday, March 23rd at the Red Lion, Cohasset. You can check out that remarkable seminar that Jeff Spratt was talking with us about. Interested in tickets for that seminar, and you should be 781-383-3393 at www.santiHolisticHealing.com. All right, thanks to Jeff Spratt for being on board. Thank you for listening. And again, thanks to Adam Eng for making sure that this podcast is available. If you want to check out the podcast, you want to listen to the broadcast, or you want to watch it, you can just go to the website, www.markmincola.com or maxhealing.com. You'll get there either way. Thanks to Larry Nelson for the great job, per usual. And thank you for listening. And until next Sunday, this is Mark Mincola reminding you all, please be wise, be aware, be well. Make it a healthy week. Good night.
Thank you for joining Mark Mincola for the Natural Health and Healing Show. Call Mark each Sunday evening at